Basketball went dancing in San Diego this past weekend. How did your Tigers do?
Baseball is firing in all cylinders. A look at Auburn basketball and an update with all your Tiger teams. This and more on Sports 9 Auburn.
Good evening and welcome to Sports 9 in Auburn. I'm Hayden Desmond.
And I'm Aaron Wise. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Before spring break, Auburn was awarded the number 4 seed in the Midwest region in this year's NCAA tournament.
The Tigers hit the road or the sky to San Diego last weekend to begin their quest for a national title.
In their first round matchup Friday, Auburn faced number 13 College of Charleston, the Colonial Conference champion. The Tigers struggled offensively but were able to pull out a 62-58 win to advance to the round of 32.
Auburn would then go against number 5 Clemson in the second round Sunday. Offense proved a problem once again for the Tigers, and Clemson took full advantage, easily defeating Auburn 84-53 to knock them out of the dance.
Despite a difficult ending to a great season, Auburn has much to be proud of. The Tigers had a season of highs and a season of lows that pushed them to have a historic run.
To kick off the season, the Tigers started on a bad note with the arrest of associate head coach Chuck Persons for his involvement in a federal bribery investigation. With the investigation, 2 Auburn players were found in question.
Auburn learned in the beginning of November that star players Austin Wiley and D'Angelo Purefoy were ineligible and were being suspended for an undisclosed amount of time.
The Tigers would go on to lose their exhibition game the same day of their suspension to Division II school Berry.
But the loss struck a chord with the Tigers, who would rebound from it. Auburn would go on to win 14 straight games beginning November 24th and ending with a loss to Alabama on January 17th.
The Tigers' hot streak would come to a stuttering halt when they suffered a string of injuries throughout the month of February, beginning with guard Bryce Brown straining his right shoulder in a loss to Texas A&M.
Auburn would then lose the SEC's leading blocker in Anthony McElmoy for the remainder of the season on a February 17th loss to South Carolina.
Auburn was able to pull together to win their first SEC regular season title since 1999 and claim the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament. However, Auburn was knocked out of their first tournament game to Alabama.
To highlight their historic season, the Tigers were ranked as high as number 7 in the Associated Press poll.
Their regular season title marks their 3rd in program history.
Now, basketball is already starting on the right foot for next season, as last night the NCAA announced D'Angelo Purefoy will be available for the Tigers after 30% of the season is played.
Purefoy missed the entire season this year due to an ongoing FBI college basketball bribery investigation.
So, Aaron, what are your thoughts on this season?
You know, I think that with all the FBI investigation stuff being over, I think we have a good base to go into next season. And I think that we're going to keep building on what's already been started this year. I think we have a good chance of getting back to where we were this year.
Definitely agree with that.
While all eyes were on basketball, Auburn baseball was making a statement of their own.
And the latest in all your other Tiger sports headed your way next.
This is a place where it only takes a second to imagine your future. Grasp a new concept in class. Inspire a child's curiosity. Discover a real-world solution. Seize an unexpected opportunity.
There goes Davis!
This is where you gain the preparation, confidence, and determination to succeed. This is Auburn.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Auburn baseball is in full swing. The Tigers hit the road last night to open up their first week-long road trip of the season. Auburn first stopped at Georgia Tech to take on the Yellow Jackets. Now, despite scoring 4 runs in the final 2 innings, the Tigers were unable to pull off a late comeback against Georgia Tech, losing to the Yellow Jackets 6-4. The loss drops Auburn to 19-3 on the season.
After defeating Texas A&M over the weekend, Auburn baseball jumped in the rankings, officially entering the top 10. With their record 19-2, Auburn jumped to number 6 in the country in the Baseball America poll.
Baseball aren't the only ones excelling on the diamond, as number 14 Auburn softball has been hitting home runs all season. The Tigers lost their first SEC series to LSU a few weeks back, but look to get their first conference win at home this past weekend, welcoming in-state rival Alabama to the Plains.
The Tigers dropped the first matchup with the tie 2-0, but would come back in the last 2 games to take the series. Auburn would take down Alabama 3-1 Saturday and 2-1 Sunday to get their first 2 SEC wins of the season. Softball is currently back on the diamond tonight, welcoming Alabama State for the midweek matchup.
Women's swimming and diving dove into the NCAA championships this week, but how did they do?
And men's golf has been swinging away on the green. To look at more of your Auburn Tiger sports after this.
Fans, direct your attention to the flagpole for a special presentation.
You never really leave Auburn, because Auburn never leaves you. So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis. 45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Swimming is almost wrapped up, but this women's swimming and diving team hit the road this past week to compete in the NCAA championships at Ohio State. The Tigers claimed 16th in the championships, with Stanford taking first place. Auburn earned 21 All-American honors from 8 total team members, with Ali Tetzlaff leading the way with 6 All-American nods.
Men's tennis hit the road this weekend, traveling to Tuscaloosa Sunday to take on the Tide in hopes of capturing their first conference win. But the Tigers were unable to do so, losing to number 38 Alabama 4-0.
Number 13 women's tennis continued their homestand, hosting rival Alabama Friday in hopes of staying perfect at home. And Auburn would do just that, defeating the Tide 4-0 to claim their 5th straight win.
Number 6 men's golf was back on the green, traveling to the John Hott Collegiate in Point Verde, Florida. After being tied for 4th after the second round, the Tigers came from behind in the final round to shoot 13 under par to claim the tournament title. The win marks Auburn's 3rd straight victory at the John Hott Invitational.
Women's golf was also back on the green, this time at a closer course. The Tigers hosted the Evans Derby experience at the Auburn University Club this past week. Auburn would come in at 4th place at 1 under par, with Arkansas winning the tournament, shooting 29 under par. Kelly Murphy headlined the individual performances, finishing tied for 12th at 3 under.
This week's Player of the Week is Casey Mize. The junior right-handed pitcher earned his 2nd SEC Pitcher of the Week honor this past week after striking out 13 batters Friday against Texas A&M. Mize is the first Auburn pitcher to win 5 straight starts to begin a season since Tim Hudson in 1997.
Even though Auburn is out, other teams are still dancing in this year's March Madness.
And this year, the tournament is full of madness. A look at all the upsets and underdogs after this.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us, when others are down, to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Have you broken out of your dancing shoes yet? Because postseason basketball is in full swing and has captivated the nation.
This year's tournament is only 2 rounds in and the chaos has already begun. Here are some of the biggest upsets in college basketball so far.
Let's start with the South bracket. Number 11, La Jolla Chicago faced a huge task in the first round, taking on number 6 Miami, but the Ramblers survived and advanced to the second round to take on number 3 Tennessee.
In the thrilling matchup, Loyola and Sister Jean took down the Volunteers 63-62 to move on to the Sweet 16.
Moving on to another Cinderella, number 7 Nevada was considered one of the most underrated teams in the second round of the tournament.
Well, the Wolfpack shocked the nation, taking down number 2 Cincinnati 75-72 to move on to the Sweet 16. And that means number 11 Loyola Chicago and number 7 Nevada will square off in the Sweet 16.
The madness doesn't stop there. Moving on to the West bracket, where number 1 seed Xavier was one of the several teams this year picked to win the tournament. The Musketeers easily made their way into the second round, where they faced number 9 Florida State.
Well, the Seminoles clearly wanted to make a statement. Florida State would take down the number 1 seed 75-70 to move on into the third round.
There was more chaos in the West bracket as well. Another team many picked to win the tournament was number 2 UNC.
The Tar Heels waltzed their way into the second round, where they would meet number 7 Texas A&M. The Aggies, a team known for their roller coaster season, showed up in a big way, taking down North Carolina in a dominating fashion 86-65 to keep on dancing.
The madness doesn't end there. Looking at the East bracket, number 13 Marshall took on powerhouse number 4 Wichita State in the first round.
The Thundering Herd stormed their way into the second round, busting many brackets, defeating the Shockers 81-75. The Herd would then get bounced out in the second round by West Virginia.
Now to the Midwest bracket, number 11 Syracuse was one of the first 4 teams in, but managed to win in their first 2 games to advance to the round of 32, where they would square off against number 3 Michigan State.
If your bracket wasn't already busted, the Qs certainly made sure it was, taking down the Spartans 55-53.
Now for the biggest upset of all. In all of tournament history, a number 16 seed has never defeated a number 1 seed until this year.
Number 16 UMBC not only beat number 1 UVA, but demolished the Cavaliers 74-54. The Retrievers then became a sensation overnight, especially on their Twitter page.
ESPN gave UMBC a 1.5% chance of defeating Virginia, and they made sure to call out ESPN for that, tweeting a screenshot of ESPN's matchup predictors saying, at ESPN.
UMBC also tweeted this picture saying, we remember this game at Maryland in December. Hopefully you enjoyed our game from your couch, dude. So Aaron, how is your bracket doing at this point?
It's gone. It's in the trash. I've burned it, and it's just gone. We're not going to talk about it because it was terrible. But I really like the underdog stories in the tournament this year. What UMBC did was just amazing. They were the complete underdogs, and they really came up and showed Virginia what it was.
Especially considering Virginia was one of the best defensive teams in the nation, and they were able to put 74 points up on the board.
Coming up, we'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for all your Tiger teams. Stay tuned. You're watching Sports 9 Auburn.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
Whether it's a short trip or a long haul.
Estimated time, 47 hours.
They will beg.
You're hungry? I'm happy to provide.
They will plead.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
But whatever you do, don't wimp out.
Now you're talking.
Make them buckle up.
He can't hurt.
Remember, safety first. Cheese curls second.
Are you orange?
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Many of your Tiger teams have wrapped their season up, but many of your favorite Auburn sports are firing on all cylinders. We have everything you need to know to stay up to date with all your Auburn teams.
Men's swimming and diving will get things started this week, traveling to Minneapolis for the NCAA championships. Meets will begin today and will conclude Saturday.
Women's tennis is in full swing in conference play, having another busy week at home. The Tigers will welcome South Carolina tomorrow with competition beginning at 6 p.m. Auburn will then return to the court Saturday when they welcome Florida, with competition set to begin at noon.
Baseball continues their road trip, traveling to Lexington for their first SEC road test. Auburn will square off with Kentucky in a 3-game series from Friday to Sunday. First pitch Friday will be at 5:30 p.m. Saturday's game will begin at 11, and Sunday's will begin at noon. Friday and Sunday's game will be on the SEC Network Plus, with Saturday's game on the SEC Network.
Softball will also be on the diamond this weekend, welcoming Kentucky to the Plains for a 3-game series Friday through Sunday. First pitch on Friday is expected for 6 p.m. Saturday it will be at 8 p.m. and Sunday's matchup will start at 2 p.m. And much like baseball, Friday and Sunday's games will be on the SEC Network Plus, with Saturdays broadcasted on the SEC Network.
Men's tennis will also be on home court this weekend. The Tigers will welcome Kentucky Friday and Vanderbilt Sunday. Matches Friday are set to begin at 6 p.m. Sunday's matches will begin at 1 p.m.
Track and field will be racing for gold this weekend in Tallahassee in the Florida State Relays, with competition on Friday expected to last all day.
Gymnastics will close out their SEC competition this weekend at the SEC Championships in St. Louis. Competition will be all day Saturday.
Men's golf will be back on the green, this time traveling to South Carolina to compete in the Hootie at Bulls Bay tournament. Competition is set to begin Sunday and last through Tuesday.
Well, to stay up to date during this busy week in Auburn athletics, go to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, or follow us on Twitter at EETV_sports.
I'm Hayden Desmond.
And I'm Aaron Wise.
From all of us here at Sports Night in Auburn, thank you for joining us this evening. Good night.